Well, yeah.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. have you ever seen that thing where O'Reilly flips out on Inside Edition? He said, fuck it, we'll do it live.
Yes, we'll have our fight live. Hello, Andy Cruz. Are you modded? Is he modded? Because I did mod him on the laptop.
Hey, Andy Cruz.
Is he modded?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Otherwise, he says, where's my range?
Yeah, he can be like that sometimes.
He's the only brave soul so far. We have an announcement to make, but we will make it when and if other people come in.
Yes. Hey, Raquel.
Hi, Raquel. Hey. How you doing? We shall wait and see.
I just got the notification on my phone, so YouTube's a little slow.
It's rotten. YouTube is rotten.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. We're gonna have to watch that one night. He flips out.
Yes,
it's funny.
Fine. Okay, fine. Boo.
Good, Raquel and you.
Guess who PMM is going to talk about tonight? The Rougarou. She left me alone with him, and I became best friends. The Rougarou and I are best friends now. He said he'll go and scare the shit out of anybody that I want him to. Yeah, I had a hard time keeping Potty Mouth awake.
Yeah, I'm an early bird. I'm an early bird.
And she complains. I never get to stay up late. So I make the what's his name for late, and then she tells me she's going to go to sleep. Nice. So I had to move it forward an hour instead of being at the ghostly hour of midnight. And now silence reigns.
What is everyone doing?
They're listening and watching. How could you, PMM?
How could I what?
Lily. Hello, darling. I'm waiting for a few more people to come in, and then I've got to. We are going to make an announcement.
We're getting married. Happy Pride Month.
How the hell can you marry your mother? Come on. Fucking hell. Yeah, Raquel. I'm now friends. I'm best friends with the Rougarou. And he said whoever I want him to visit, he will. So I'm
do you want me to share? Do you want me to share the StreamYard link?
Yeah, well, send it to Andy because he wants to come up. I know.
Okay. Andy Cruz.
Maybe. Yeah, and maybe once we post it in your Discord, and then maybe once
you know what my kids call Andy.
Do you need a seatbelt for the announcement? Listen, you know me. I could say, "Hey, Kimmy P has 18."
Hey, Kimmy P.
How's baby doing?
They were bullying her baby Amanda Lynn stream. I heard it.
Yes.
I heard the baby bully.
Yep. And thank you, Amanda Lynn.
The baby
You're a
shaming.
treasure, darling.
Hey, BTS. Yeah,
Well,
I
where's
listened to
BTS?
you
I
guys'
can't see
stream, but I
BTS.
was too busy feeding myself ice cream. But I was there.
Ah, hey, BTS, darling. Thank you. Your boomer baby. Okay, yeah, the baby's allowed on the boomer island, but not you. That is discrimination. That is discrimination. Definitely. Not good. Okay. I need to make this announcement because until I make the announcement, we can't carry on. Because it'd be weird if I make it in the middle of the stream. And the only reason I'm doing it is because Mandolin and Starlight talked about it. Otherwise, I would have avoided this like batshit in the belfry. I was sleeping. I wasn't awake for the stream that happened with TNT. Okay. Look, as much as I really enjoy TNT and got to really like her over the months, okay, what happened today, I can't stand behind. I can't agree with it in any shape or form. For me, even if it's a person I hate, okay, that's doing the doxing or gets doxed, I will never stand behind it. I'm against it 101%. I'm that extreme that as far as I'm concerned, there's no excuse, there's no whatever you want to call it, that can make a person dox somebody.
Hey, figure skating coach. Hey, Andrea.
Even if I am doxed or whatever, okay, somebody else, a retaliation doxing is completely and utterly wrong. Finished. End of story. It's not a way to deal with things. YouTube stuff must be YouTube stuff, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay. As to calling out people in the stream, I don't know who was in the stream, and I don't really care. Okay. People went in there not knowing what was going to happen, so holding people responsible for them being in a stream, okay, where doxing happens. I'm not behind that either. Okay. We're all free to go where we want. We're all free to associate with who we want. We're all free to chat where we want. Has it made me a little bit more lurkable? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry that it happened. I really am. I regret that it happened. I'm disappointed it happened. Really, really disappointed. Anyway.
Good night, BTS.
That's all I'm going to say on it.
I agree, Kimmy P. Exactly. 2 wrongs don't make a right.
Why are you going to bed, BTS? I'm sorry if I upset you. Figure skating coach, good evening. Hi, Shauna. Oh, thank you.
I think it's just important that people know where we stand on what happened today.
Yep.
We don't hate Trisha. We just want people to know we don't agree with some of the actions that happened today. Hey, Sandy. Yep. Hey, Shauna.
Hey, Sandy girl. I hope your bush is better today. Do the brown.
Yeah, people do have to leave TNT's kids alone. Absolutely. Hey, Doodle Brown.
No, no
As
more
long as
Butch
you're not
talking.
upset.
Stop.
Look, there's one last thing that I'm going to say about it, and then it's going to be no more. It's going to be spooks and goblins, okay? Leave real life out of things, please. There's no need to go real life. There's no need to involve children or involve people that are not on YouTube. And
Yeah.
involving people's kids, to me, is the lowest form that you can go. Okay? So just cut it out.
Damn,
This is
Skippy.
bullshit. This is bullshit. Why can't these people, okay? Because I believe that TNT's kids were doxxed, okay? Why do they have to do that? For what? Does it give them some unthinkable orgasm or something? I mean, dear Lord, people, just stop it. It's
Hey,
easy.
soldier.
Don't fucking do it. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
I
sorry.
laid out the rules. I laid out the rules a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? I thought everybody understood. That's what I get for thinking.
Oh,
I don't
It
think you
is
got the
human.
memo.
Fuck, Doodle Brown. The mosquitoes
Doodle.
love it too.
hey, soldier. How's it, darling? Hey, figure skating coach. I don't know if I said hi to you. BTS, as long as I didn't upset you, that makes me happy. Have a good night, my darling, and sleep tight.
Don't let the mosquitoes bite.
And if they
Andy,
bite,
you have any good ghost
push
stories?
them back.
I might. I have a few.
You have a few.
I'll let you guys go
Ghouls and
first.
goblins. It's freezing here. If you people could see me, you would pee yourself laughing. I look like an Eskimo. I feel like a Thanksgiving turkey, all stuffed and overdressed. And I hate it. I really do. So, what have we got to share tonight? What have we got to talk about tonight?
Well,
Where's P-Day?
P-Day, where are you? It's spook night.
Yeah. Guess what, P-Day, if you're there listening somewhere in the bushes, old Jasko's new video is coming out tomorrow. Gone Girl's still here. No girls with knives and straws. Well,
No.
we never know.
Does anyone in chat have a ghost story they want to share?
Yeah, anybody want to share any stories? Come up, potty mouth, drop the link.
Drop the link on their heads.
On their heads.
No,
Their heads.
no. We drop it on their backsides.
Link on your bum. Link on your bum.
Are you saying they have big booties?
Maybe.
I don't know. How must I know?
Press a 1 if you have a big booty. Inquiring minds want to know. Doodalicious.
Listen, I'm in Africa, okay? I'm an African child. An African woman have serious booties.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like a nice booty. If me and PMM ever get married, I'm going to be hitting her booty every day.
Oh my god.
Oh my Lord, help me.
What? Isn't that a cute thing? Don't you like it when your husband passes by the kitchen and gives you a nice slap on the butt?
Yep. Definitely a good slap on the booty.
Thanks to Andy, the chat is now degenerated.
Hey,
Oh
P-Day.
I'm sorry.
Hey,
I'm
P-Day.
degenerate. You know, I was gone so long that P-Day didn't even know who I was. He's like, who's this Andy guy?
What? Sally,
yeah.
are you saying ignore a B-dunk and a dunk? I don't know what that means.
That's exactly what she's saying.
I have no idea what that means. This has gone really bad all of a sudden.
So who's
Well,
going
I can
first with
tell.
their ghost story?
I can tell a ghost story real quick.
Let's
So
do it. Start it off.
Does the Rougarou smack people's butts, women's
no,
butts?
the Rougarou takes people's blood.
Oh.
You have a
It's a
badonkadonk, a
vampire.
big old booty, she said.
Oh, yes, yes. African women have big booties.
Raquel peed, so that's good.
Soldier, you better send out for help, okay? Oh, thanks for letting us know you went to go and have a pee, Raquel. That's really lovely.
You have a badunk-dunk. Ghetto booty.
Yes, soldier, you have to send out for help. 2 teenagers in one house, no. And I'm speaking from experience. Boys aren't too bad. Might have to play Sally's go the fuck to sleep for them later. Okay. I don't think that would send teenagers to sleep. I think it might send their minds into other places, especially if they're boys.
When my mom couldn't get me to sleep, she used to give me NyQuil. Good night juice.
Oh dear. I know. P-Day. Did you see CJ's one? How he kind of broke down? That bloody Julia is the same Julia, I'm telling you. She's connected with some really fucked up people. Mind you, she's kind of fucked up herself. But it was sad to watch CJ get...
She thinks you should do reactions on the CJ and Jasco.
No, but people aren't... Not everybody watches it. Okay. I mean, it's not... I don't think amongst our community, whatever that is, a lot of people watch it. But you know what Randonautica has done for me? It's messed up my ghost watching. Because unless it's really off the hinge, okay, I get bored with it now. Because Randonautica is a ride and a half. And it's nothing paranormal. It's all real life shit. It would be entertaining. It would be.
Hi, Mary.
How did you...
Mary.
Hey, Mary.
That's another Discord.
Hello, Mary.
I need to get back in. Mary, I need to get back into your Discord.
Oh, it's Mary. Hey. I've seen you around, girl. A long time. But I'm not a chatter. Unfortunately. Well, fortunately. Did you see the guy dressed all in black? He's a tall dude, eh? And he drives a black Cadillac SUV. Damn, that dude he's large and he looks so evil. Yeah, he was shouting to CJ, you punk, I'm gonna fucking bash your head in.
Andy, Soldier said you have to start us off. You have to tell us a ghost story first.
Okay, I have a ghost story, but then I also have a medical condition. What do you want to hear first?
Which one you want to hear first, Soldier? Hey, Lanky Tour. Love you.
Lanky. Lanky's a Democrat like me. What do you guys say? Which
hey,
one
Lanky. Shit, I'm delayed reaction. Just tell a story, Andy.
Okay, well, I'll tell you my medical condition first. Okay, I have this thing. You can look it up on the internet. It's a medical issue. It's called sleep paralysis. So first time I ever experienced this, I was 21, 22, and I was back then I used to take naps on Saturdays when I would go home from work. We would get out usually by 1 o'clock. So I would fall asleep sometimes in my brother's rooms because it was the most quiet. And one day I was gonna take a nap before I went out and partied on a Saturday, which I always did when I was like 21, 22, whatever it was. I couldn't get up. Like I woke up and I could hear everybody, but I could not get up. I couldn't move. I couldn't talk. I couldn't breathe. Like I could breathe, but it was weird. Like it was like restricting my air breathing. And I freaked out. And then I just snapped out of it. It took a little while, but I got up and I was like, oh my God, what was that? Was that a dream? I don't know. I tossed it away as a dream. It started happening more frequently. I would be in bed, and it's a weird sensation that you get. It just comes all over your body when you wake up. You can't move. You can't. You're looking. Like if I'm in my room, I could see my room, but my eyes are closed. I can't open my eyes. I can't open my eyes. Okay, so one night, like the fourth time it happened to me, the same situation. I couldn't move. Nothing. But then, like in my mind, I could see my room, and there was somebody in the room with me, a black shadow, right? It freaked me out. It happened 2 more times, and each time that shadow kept getting closer to my bed. I went to the doctor and I said, "Hey man, something's wrong with me. I'm having this thing where I'm waking up, but I can't." And then he pulled out a book and said, "Don't be alarmed. It happens to a lot of people." And when he pulled it out, like if you go research it, like on the internet, which I hadn't done yet, you'll see that people there report seeing somebody in the room when that happens to them, you know? So that like kind of freaked me out. Like, what is that thing? Like, am I seeing something? It's like, it's very scary. So one time in my dream, when I woke up, it's not even a dream because you're awake, you know what's going on. Usually when you dream, you don't know what's going on. You know what's going on. You can hear everything going on outside, but you're able to get out of bed and kind of like look back and you see your body there laying there. So I seen this figure again and I said, "What are you? You know, what are you?" And I reached out and I grabbed it and I just seen like a green face and start like big old teeth and started like it like picked me up and like threw me back on my bed, you know, and then I just got up from the bed like, what the hell was that? Sometimes he'd be on my chest and wouldn't let me breathe, you know? Like he'd be sitting on my chest. You can see him just sitting on my chest, you know? And I'm thinking, so then I started like thinking, okay, I know what this is, so I'm just gonna take a deep breath and it will go away. So I started dealing it with that. Like just every time I felt that sensation coming that I couldn't move, I would just be like, "Bro, you're tripping. You're having an episode. Just take a deep breath." And I'll be like, and I'll just wake up. You know, that's how and I haven't had it in years. You know, but there has to be something. If other people are reporting this, don't you think that it's probably something otherworldly?
Yes.
Yep, I do. I had it for many, many years as a child. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what would happen is the top of my head would start tingling. I was in bed trying to go to sleep, and the top of my head would start tingling. Okay. And as soon as that happened, I would go into that weird state of being awake, but not being able to move. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I never saw a shadow. It was the face of a man, and he had a black hat on. He had a long face. Okay. And he had the most evil look on him, and he would come diving down at me. Okay. And I'd try and scream. And what would happen is I'd make a noise and it would wake up my dad. Okay.
Yeah.
And then he would come in and he'd wake me up. But this happened when I was a kid, and it happened so many times. And then it stopped, okay?
Yeah.
And then it happened again when I was living in Portugal. And by then, I'd sort of got into the paranormal and all that kind of business, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it was always the same guy. Always the same guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he had like a Theodora on, you know, the hats like the mob wears, okay?
Yes.
But it's those black ones. Anyway, by then, I'd also realized that when I felt threatened by anything, okay, to say a prayer.
Yeah.
So the first time it happened, and you know, it was something, the more I prayed, okay, the more it would happen while I was going through that episode, okay? But I'd keep on and I'd keep on. And what I realized, the strength in saying through the blood of the Lamb, okay, through the blood of Jesus, I cast you out, okay? And when I did that enough times, it would go. Then when it was awful.
Yeah.
While we were living in Portugal, my daughter got married to a guy, okay, who was a fisherman. And in Portugal, the fishermen are pretty low down type of thing, okay? Anyway, they bust up and she came to live with me with my granddaughter. And his mother, it was a very strange family, okay? His niece had a baby from his cousin. It was a whole weird family. I mean, why the hell she got into it, got married into it, I have no idea. But anyway, his mother went and saw a witch.
Mm-hmm.
And although Portugal is a Catholic country, underneath the umbrella of the Catholic Church, these people operate. They use the saints and all sorts of things from the Catholic Church. And the Catholic Church doesn't say anything against it, okay? They just, I mean, it just carries on.
Yeah.
Anyway, one afternoon, we were staying in a duplex, and I had my granddaughter, and we were downstairs, okay, where the lounge and the kitchen and the dining room were. And I was just turning to walk up the stairs to the front door, and I had my granddaughter's hand, and I heard this swoosh like this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And my granddaughter screamed. And what it was this bastard, okay, from these attacks that I was getting, okay? And then I realized this is no sleep paralysis, this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And he whooshed through my balcony door and straight through my kitchen wall. Okay. And about 2 days later, my friend told me that she'd seen my ex-son-in-law's mother go and see a witch. Okay. And I thought, oh, dear God, now I'm dealing with a whole different class of shit. And you know that the final end of this, the thing was, okay, I got rid of him. Well, he would appear outside my bedroom door, but he couldn't get in, okay, because through prayer and stuff like that, there was a barrier and he couldn't get in. When my daughter left to go to Ireland, her and my granddaughter, okay, to go and live in Ireland, she phoned me one night at about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I said, what the hell is wrong? She said, Mum, that guy with the cloak. And I said, yeah, I know. She said, he's in my cupboard.
Oh, shit.
I said, oh, hell. She said, yeah, I opened my cupboard and there he was standing in my cupboard. Okay. So I said, right, get yourself, I told her what to do and everything. And I got her to hold the phone towards the cupboard. And what I'd done to get rid of him in my home, I did to her
Yeah. Yeah.
there, okay? And that thing disappeared. But he was the most evil bastard you have ever seen. He was tall and slim, very good looking, but really, you knew he was evil.
Yeah.
And it's, you see, the sleep paralysis thing, that carried from there into my real life.
Mm.
So that's why for me, I don't believe it was sleep paralysis. I believe it
Yeah.
was being attacked.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Miss Noma. Sorry, I
You know,
didn't see you.
it's funny because like, okay, like years later, I'm talking about maybe 4 years ago, I used to drive for Uber, and I was driving, most of the day I'll be driving and taking people to work, and I picked up this lady. She gets in my car and she says, can you take me, I read her the directions, and she's like, yeah, I'm going to work. I go, yeah, really? What kind of work you do? And she said, oh, I'm a tarot reader. I'm a like psychic, I guess, or something like that. And I go, oh yeah, okay, that's right. And she was just like staring at me, right? And then she said, and by the way, I don't look like I'm a Christian because I have long hair. Sometimes I have a beard. The way I dress, it's not something that you find something at a church, right? So, but I'm a Pentecostal, and my mom, rest in peace, like was very heavy into it. Would come in my room, put oil on my forehead, pray for me every morning, would yell at me, baby, do your prayers. So we're driving to her work, and she tells me, you have someone that's praying for you every day, don't you? And I said, yeah, why? She's like, you're Christian, are you? She's like, yeah. Your aura around you is so much different than everybody else's. And she's like, does anybody pray for you? I go, my mom, she's very heavy into the church. She's like, she's doing a good job. And when she left, she's like, you had something, but it's not there no more. And she freaked me out because she was like, did you ever have a sleep paralysis or anything like that? I said, when I was younger, and she said, yeah, that's not gonna come back anymore. Don't worry about it. She just walked away. Freaked me the fuck out. I'm getting chills just thinking about it. You know what I mean? My
Yep.
mom prayed for me every day till she passed away, like a few months ago.
Uh-huh.
Very, very heavily into church. Gets mad at me when I didn't go. Like she's like, you have to
Uh-huh.
take it more seriously. I go, yeah, I go, mom, but I'm not done with the whole getting jiggy with it and speaking in tongue. But I mean, you know
Yeah.
what I mean. But I'll go and I sit at Bible study. I'll read the scriptures with them, and I'm a believer and all that. But they like to
Uh-huh.
dance, and I'm just like, no, I'm good with that. I just sit here all the way in the back.
Yeah. Yeah. They can be a bit hairy, the Pentecostal. I was
Yeah,
just reading back here, okay, in the chat. Okay. Sandy's also had it when she was a kid.
yeah, I saw it.
Soldier. I want to say soldier
That's
because
how you say it, I
here
think. Yeah,
in South
yeah,
Africa, JA is ja, which means yes in or ja in Afrikaans. But she says it's he or she, whatever, okay, it is something that isn't good, especially when you see an entity. This entity is not a good one at all. Now, somebody was sharing a really good story here. I think it was Miss Noma.
yeah.
I had the scariest thing happen. I was in bed a couple of days ago and heard somebody cough in the house. There is no one home but me. You know that really bad, scared feeling you get in the pit of your stomach? Yeah. And you want to be sick and pee in all the same time. I actually was reaching into my nightstand for my pistol, and the cat walked in nonchalantly, and he would never do that if someone was in the house that he didn't know. It ended up being the damn bird. Her daughter, I think, had taught the bird Oh no, she had taught herself to cough, mimicking one of us. Thank God for that.
Yeah, I want a bird that does that. When I was a kid, I had a parrot. Greatest pet I ever had.
I had
Yeah,
a cockatoo.
my friend in
Great.
Yeah, too bad I sold them
my
for weed.
friend in Portugal had an African grey. Oh
Mhm.
fuck, he was fantastic. Anyway, any stories about the Rougarou?
I don't even know what that
So
is.
Potty Mouth
I
knows
can.
what it is.
The Rougarou is like half man, half wolf. He lives in the swamp, and he goes after people who break their lint. Um, let's see. Hold on. I can see if I can find some good stories. Hold on.
While you're finding, P-Day is something. When I was little, and in my parents' house, there was a hunchbacked shadow at the end of my bed, and I walked out my room. My mum said I was dreaming, but I wasn't sleeping. I was about 10 or so. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely things out there, man, that are
Of
unexplainable,
course there is.
Yeah.
Of course there is. A lot of you in the chat probably. Who
Ooh,
on earth is that?
I saw a UFO once.
Experience.
I always thought it was a vivid dream. Then one day I read my old diaries and found the entry describing it moments after I saw it. Oof.
Yep. Who is that? I can't. Hooked on phonics.
Hooked on phonics were for me. It's
Okay.
like ROM Street, but unfortunately, I get ROM sleep. I've had that before. Lucid dreams, but sleep
Yeah.
paralysis is
No,
something
but
so totally different. Yeah.
you
I'm
can tell
dropping
the
a link
difference in a
for
lucid dream.
Soldier.
Cool. Only soldier come up
Um,
because I ain't into being torn. I don't need to see tiny weenies or big weenies or any kind of weenies. I know them all. I've seen them all.
so I don't
I've
personally
never
know
caught a
many
lie before.
Rougarou stories, but I can tell a ghost story.
Do it.
Yes, tell a ghost story.
So when I
Please, no
was
more little girls with knives and straws, okay?
no, so when I was pregnant with my 13-year-old, we went to visit my in-laws at the time, and we had a good visit. And we went to leave, and their driveway has this. About halfway down their driveway, there's this light, like a street light.
Hi,
And
emoji girl.
when we were going to get in the car, I looked up and you could see a man walking like out of the wooded area right under the street light, and he kind of waved to me. So like I waved back, right? Like I thought it was some of the family that lived on the property. So I waved back, and then he just disappeared. Um
Ooh.
and he was wearing a welder's cap. I don't know if y'all know what that is. But come to find out, that is where my mother-in-law's brother had killed himself, the same exact spot, and he was a welder. So they told me that he was coming to congratulate me on the baby. Like,
Oh,
whoa.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Creepy, creepy.
P-Day. P-Day. Hi, emoji girl. What are you making for dinner? And P-Day has something to share. In 2010, when my boyfriend died, my boys were 4 and 5. I was at home crying, but got it together when they got home. My oldest came home off the bus, and he told me when he was at school, my boyfriend told him to ask why. I don't see the end of it.
It only lets you type so much, so she's probably going to finish it.
Yeah.
Why I was
But
crying and
that's
everything would
cool.
be okay. The creepy thing is, the night he died in a car accident, he told me he was going to die that night, and I didn't believe him. He went to visit family. Wow.
Yeah. I've
And never made it
known
home.
people. And what did Sandy see land? Oh, a UFO.
That's one thing, if I seen, I would freak the fuck out.
Raquel reckons she saw a UFO 3 years ago in Myrtle Beach.
Ooh, that's what I
And
want to see.
Sandy, she saw
I
one
think
land,
I'd rather
and then
see a
I got
ghost.
spotted peeking out the window at it. Everyone thought I was crazy, but the field where it landed didn't grow grass for years.
Ooh,
Wow.
Wow.
I want to see a UFO. I want to see a bona fide UFO. I really,
I'd
really, really
rather
No,
do.
I
see a
don't.
ghost any day.
I
Listen,
think,
I've
I
got
think I
enough
saw one.
problems dealing. I've got enough problems dealing with humans. I don't need fucking aliens added into the mix, okay? They can just
Well,
stay right where they are.
I mean, I think I saw a UFO. I don't know what it was. I was driving north on the I-5 going to Sacramento. Bunch of
I'm
bunch
sorry
of
about that,
cars,
darling.
bunch of cars.
Sorry.
This light comes out of nowhere and circles around like we all the cars pulled over to see what this was. And it just like it was so fast that it came over on top of us and it did like this weird turn and disappeared into a nearby field, right? And I looked around and all the cars had stopped to look at this thing. Now I can't tell you for sure. Could have been a drone. I've never seen a drone move that way and the light that it had on, but I can't like say, oh yeah, that was a UFO. I don't know what it was.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Soldier, where you at?
Hello.
Hey, welcome, soldier.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Awesome. So this isn't
Thank you
popping
for
any
letting me
cherries,
know.
but oh, sorry.
Lovely. You
But
popped your cherry on
well,
Sally's live.
technically, I did go on to Gray's once when he was doing his paranormal line, but this is like the second time I've been up,
Uh-huh.
so it's kind of cool.
Hi,
Good to
the
do it on
scoop.
Sal's. Um, so I just wanted to share. I have several to share, but I'm just going to share one, and I'm curious if anyone else has ever experienced this.
Oh,
Um,
brilliant.
yeah. So this takes place in Tacoma, Washington, and it was late at night. I'd had dinner with my two friends, and I'd had one beer, so I wasn't even, wasn't even buzzed, basically. But anyway,
Uh-huh.
it was midnight, and it was time to walk home, and it was a short walk. There was a big giant park that he lived across the street from,
Uh-huh.
and basically, like you would just go down the street and then turn and walk along the park, and then it was one more block up, and then it was my house. So I didn't live very far. Anyway, so there I was walking along, and I noticed a black grocery bag, kind of just floating in the wind. Nothing weird, nothing strange,
Uh-huh.
until I realized how still the air is. When I stopped to light my cigarette, I noticed that
Oh.
the air is very, very still. And I look more closely, and I'm not looking at a grocery bag, Sally. This wasn't a grocery bag. This
Oh,
was well, the reason why I describe
missed.
it like that, because I want to describe how it looked, guys, when it was moving. Okay. It was
Right.
it looked to me like a black grocery bag, but what it was, when I looked closer, it wasn't even touching the ground. Okay. Keep in mind, there's no wind, and it's a
Oh.
very black, dark shadow, so dark you cannot see through it. And it doesn't have a
Uh-huh.
certain or particular shape. It was like it was
Yes.
moving water. Does that make sense? It looked
Yep.
like moving water, but it was
Yep.
very, very black. And naturally, when I look at it and I realize, and I'm putting all of this together, okay, and this is all within a few seconds' time. this thing is very dark. It's not touching the ground. It's not windy. And I'm getting the worst feeling in the world all of a sudden. And I know that I have to get the hell away from this thing. Now, as I'm noticing this, and mind you, this is all going through my head within 4 seconds of spotting it. Okay.
Yep.
I'm still walking. Well, it starts to cross the street to my side.
Oh
Okay.
my God.
And as it's doing this, it might get windy. So I don't know if you guys are going to be able to hear me. Hopefully it won't distract from the noise too much. But so as it's moving across the street, I start running towards the park. Now, okay, it's nighttime. It's the city. I don't want to run through the freaking park at night. But you know what? You bet your ass I'm running through that park, right? Like I'm getting as far away from this thing as I can possibly get. So it continued across the street in front of me, and I just hauled ass diagonally across the park, which is quicker anyway. But you know, I didn't care if I got attacked by a human being. I was more concerned with whatever the hell that dark thing was. I don't even know what it was, but it scared me so much to my core that I just knew I had to get the hell away from it, you know. So
those kind of dark shadows are not cool. Okay, not at all.
Yeah, it's definitely not something good, and you could just feel it, you know, just as you just feel it through every part of your bone and body. You know, you need to get as far away from this thing as possible. And so, yeah, I've you know, I do a lot of my own research and stuff too, and I listen to Coast to Coast, which is a program here in the States that talks about this kind of thing. But I haven't really talked to anyone, you know, that's kind of had this same experience.
Well, I had that with a dark shadow. Since I've moved into this house where I'm living now, okay, the garage has always been a no-go area for me, and it's got a connecting door into the rest of the house through the garage. And every time I've gone to open that door, I've always felt I'm going to find something in the garage, okay? Whether it's daytime, nighttime, it doesn't matter what it is. And then when I was sitting up in the lounge, I sit up every night. I stay awake every night. I sit by the lounge window, okay, and I watch the street because of the burglaries and stuff that happen here, okay? So I feel that if somebody sees that somebody is awake, they're not going to, they're going to think twice about burgling that house, okay?
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm sitting there the one night, and I said to my son, my eldest son, I said to him, you know, I'm seeing a lot of dark shadows. And I mean, the street lights are on and everything, okay? So it's not a case of, oh, it's darkness. I said, but I'm seeing a lot of these shadows darting up and down the road, and then some of them go round the corner, okay? That's where my garage door is.
Interesting.
So I said to him, listen, do me a favor, get a whole lot of coarse sea salt and just put it outside the garage door, you know, in a line, okay? And then one night I'm sitting, everybody's lights out, they're fast asleep, okay? It's dark. Well, I mean, it's nighttime, okay? But there was a heaviness, okay? And I'd seen these shadows. They were virtually one on top of the other, darting up and down the road, okay? And I thought to myself, fuck this. This is really creeping me out. And as I said that, I heard a noise and I looked up. Now, this is a solid glass window. It doesn't open or anything, okay? And there was this black, like you explained, like a blob rushing towards the window, okay? And you could hear it. And I lost my cool. First I screamed, and then I shouted, fuck off, you bastard. You are not allowed to come near me. And you know, when I said that, it almost like, you know, when you think of molten steel and it melts like that. And that happened. But right outside that window, the way he rushed at that window, I tell you, it gave me, I thought I was going to lose my breath because I got such a fright. Okay, but it didn't happen again. But that was frightening. You just see this blob, this black, thick, you can't see through it.
Yeah.
And I could hear it. I could hear it rushing at the window. That's how fast it was coming. You know, like a wind. Okay, a hard wind. Fuck. I'm telling you. Oh, but when I swore at it like that, I thought, you bastard, how dare you frighten me like that? I don't interfere with you. Don't you dare come and interfere with me. And it pissed off.
Sorry, I had to mute for a moment.
No, you're
Teenagers.
good.
Quite fine.
So, gosh, rushing towards the window, that would have scared the shit out of me, Sally. Woo.
Oh. And my eldest son woke up and he came running into the lounge, okay, because he'd heard me scream and then he heard me shouting like that, okay. So he thought it was somebody trying to get into the house. And I said to
Oh, it
him,
was
no.
something trying to get in, all
I said,
right, but woo.
yeah. But you see, they can't get in because of what
You
I've
have to
done.
invite it in, I think. Yeah. No, that's absolutely right. We were just discussing this in chat on a different panel.
Uh-huh.
And I am a big fan of Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Me
Huge fan.
too.
Yes.
Yes,
Me too.
yes, I saw you. Yes. So, and that's absolutely right. I think it's kind of a combination of two things. And by the way, Ed Warren always said, you don't have to be religious to be able to pray
No.
and make these things go away. You can be spiritual.
Yep.
And it just takes the power of prayer. And also it's definitely, definitely don't invite them in. Otherwise, in other words, don't use Ouija boards. Don't invite these things in.
Oh, no,
Because once you do,
that is a path.
whew,
First of all, I'd just like to quickly say, night, P-Day. Sleep tight. God
Good night,
bless. Thanks
P-Day.
for coming in.
oh, good night, P-Day. And
And the
no, I don't
scoop,
live in that area anymore, P-Day. And you were
Sandy
asking
too is
if
going
and
to bed.
the scoop also came in and said hello and good night. Good night, Scoop. Thank you very much for coming in. I'm sorry I'm a bit late, but Soldier
Night,
was
Sandy.
telling us a story. Sandy going to bed too. Oh, okay. Good night. God bless. Sleep tight.
Yes, sleep tight after all of the scary stories, my loves. Sleep tight.
Yep.
And then the way PM laughs. Oh, this is good. This is good. I
The
know I'll
only
probably
thing
be up a little late.
the only thing I've ever had happen to me as far as like I see shadows all the time type of thing.
Yep.
Like they say, what is that, your peripheral vision, that you'll see
Yes.
it's more of the paranormal world than, your regular vision. So I do see the shadows all the time, but as far as like a scary, dark something another, the only thing close to that ever happened to me was when I was a teenager. I had gotten really into church, like so into church. I was dating a guy who was going to become a preacher one day. But anyways, I started receiving all of a sudden, once I got into church, I started receiving all kind of like literal devil worshiper magazines in the mail.
What?
So
Whoa.
yes. So we decided
Dang.
one night we were gonna burn them, right, and pray. Like the preacher came over, the youth pastor came over. So we burned these magazines and we start praying. Well, my mom committed suicide in this house, and the preacher was convinced that there was evil spirits here because my mom killed herself, and wanted to know if it would be okay if he prayed in her room. And we were like, sure, why not? So we all went to my mother's room where she committed suicide and held hands and laid hands on her bed where she passed away and started praying, and a dark smoke came out of her bed.
Yeah.
I can't even really describe what it looked like because it wasn't like regular smoke, you know what I'm saying? But it was definitely creepy, and that's definitely the closest thing I've ever had to like any kind of dark entity like that. But it just, as we were praying, came out of the bed and kind of disappeared, and that was weird. That was weird for me.
Wait, you were getting the magazines though?
Yes. Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy though? Like,
No, it's not crazy
Yep.
because when you become a Christian, you get attacked by the enemy all the time. You get attacked by bad forces, and yeah, I've experienced a little bit of that. Like when you really become a believer and you start like going to church and reading scriptures and knowing what's true. You know, like I'm not talking about Catholics. I'm talking about real Christians, any Christian, because I think they're a little bit more closer to God. I mean, that's just my belief, but I have noticed that once you take that leap, you know, towards that, you start getting
right.
attacked. You start getting attacked by malevolent forces and stuff. You know.
Or it's like, and at that
Mhm.
point in my life, I was probably closer to God than I've ever been, and
Mhm.
including now, you know. And it's just like all of a sudden I started receiving all these,
Yeah.
and I never knew they even existed. But it was like
Yeah.
devil worship in
Yeah.
That
magazines.
is
Like
so
what?
weird.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what
That's
in the
yeah.
world?
Yeah. That's the enemy right there. That they're trying to keep you from, you know, keep getting closer to God. You know.
Yeah.
You feel it. You can feel it. You know that what you just said though. That happened to me, but I didn't feel the smoke. It was a shock to my arm. We went into this guy's house that my mom wanted to pray for because he was having all kinds of stuff happen to me. So we went in the room and my mom was reading and everybody was doing their thing. And then at one point we did what you did. Like we put our hands on the bed, but we didn't see no smoke. We got shocked. Like something ran
Wow.
up our arm. I was like, what the fuck was that? I was in my mind, I was like, what the fuck was that? You know?
Lanky,
Wow.
don't worry. I think that Andy just sort of, I don't know. I don't think he meant anything.
What do you mean?
Exactly.
Oh,
No,
about
because I think she got a
We love
little
you,
bit
Lanky.
offended.
I'm
Lanky
sorry,
Pure,
Lanky.
Samo.
Yeah,
Lanky,
I know Catholics believe in God, but like what I've noticed myself though is like when you become like when Christians get attacked more, like I don't know what it is. I
well,
mean,
but then you think about it though, and
No, but
that's true, but then you think that Catholics, I mean, it's the Catholic priests that are the ones that go
exactly.
out and do the exorcisms. And
no,
then
that's
like
true.
I'm not Catholic, I'm Native American. Well, you know
Mm,
that, Andy. I've said that in
yeah.
chat. So I'm more spiritual. But
Hmm.
you know, Ed and Lorraine Warren, they were Catholic, and they had different saints
Uh-huh.
that they would bring their charms with them, you know.
Yep.
And then there was a priest, I think, that they really respected that did a lot of exorcisms, so they would
Hmm.
pray to him or whatever. But you know, and there's saints and stuff like that. But I think it's just putting, if you have any kind of, you know, like we were talking about, religion or spirituality, something that you believe
Yep.
in that comes with, you know, that's surrounded in love and white light. And that's what's most important. And I kind of, that's one more reason why I wanted to
Yes.
come up, because we were talking about hauntings, but we kind of took a little bit more of a dark turn on what can happen, you know, during hauntings. And I wanted to talk about protection and share what I know. And that's kind of what we've already mentioned is that, you know, if you have something that you believe in, also, if you can picture yourself surrounded in a white light. And when I
Hmm.
Yeah.
say that, you
Yep.
picture yourself like the bubble boy, right? But instead of the bubble, it's a bubble of white light. And so, what you're going to use to power that white light is your strength and belief in whatever
Yep.
spirituality or religion that you believe. That's what you turn that white light into, and that will protect you. It won't, will it completely protect you from everything? No, it won't, but it will give you a strong
Yeah.
protection. So,
You
and also
see,
just,
and also,
oh, go ahead.
sorry, darling. Sorry.
You're fine.
Carry on. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Um, You know,
Really.
with the white light,
Mm-hmm.
what I've done, okay, is when I need that kind of protection, I will, in my mind, I will see a picture of the white light coming from my feet up,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Yep,
and going to every single millimeter of your body, and
absolutely.
then
Yep.
expanding into like a ball, okay. And you see, with this kind of stuff, you can't just do something once and that'll be the end of everything and you'll never be attacked again or anything like that.
No,
You
you
got
need
to
to do it
keep
every
on
time.
doing
Yeah,
this.
you have to
Yeah.
do it every time. And every time that you feel uncomfortable, if it's something that you feel is dark
Yes.
and means you harm, because you can, like you were saying, you can feel when it means you harm. You absolutely
Yes.
can. It's just, even if you've
You
never
can.
encountered anything in your life, it's just, for some people, I know for
You know
me,
it.
it'll go up my spine. It'll go right up my spine and
Yep.
up my neck. And it's,
Yep.
whew, yeah. But, so there's definitely ways you can protect. And you can even do that with your home too, by the way. If you feel
Oh,
that you don't
yes.
want anything to follow you home, say you go, I like to go visit graveyards at old ghost towns. Okay.
Me too,
So a
girl.
lot of times, yes, girl, I know you know what I'm talking about. So, but when you leave those places, it's really good, even if you go home, well, first of all, you just ask whatever to not follow you home. And then of course, if you get
Uh-huh.
home, you can do that extra protection and imagine your entire home surrounded in that white
Right.
light.
Yes.
It's worked for
Yes.
me most of the
Yep.
time. So, you know,
I
You see,
actually
there's another.
go
Carry
ahead,
on.
Sal. No, I
No,
was
no,
just gonna
you don't.
I was just gonna say my 13-year-old, she's always been able to see things that a lot of people can't see, if you know what I'm saying. And
Yep.
she's been like that her whole life. And so from the time she was little and first started, talking about seeing these things, and I would always pray the white light of the Holy Spirit over my kids every night.
Yep.
Just as a protection for them. But she is definitely a special one, her. She really is.
Likey.
She
yeah.
is.
Well, and they say that
But
it starts a lot of
in the
the
Bible.
real mediums.
Oh,
They say the real ones that are really connected with the spirits.
uh-huh.
It usually does start when when they are children.
Mhm.
Sometimes,
Yes.
in rare cases, it can happen when someone encounters like a near-death experience. Then they attain that. I know in the Bible they call it the discernment of spirits. But yeah, I've
Right.
heard that most of the time you start out when you're really young. So that's really interesting.
No, but
We
you
lived
see,
next to a we're not gonna let Sally talk tonight. You talk, Sally, and then I'm gonna
that's
talk.
fine. No, I do lots of talking.
No, say what
You
you're gonna
carry
say
on.
about the Bible. Say what you're gonna say.
No, I was just saying, I think it's in Philippines or Ephesians. Jesus actually gives you a guideline of how to protect yourself against
Hmm.
dark
Hmm.
entities. Okay.
Yes.
So that to me explains it all as far as I'm concerned.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Ed and Lorraine.
Oh,
I
figure
keep
skating
mentioning these guys,
coach.
but they definitely use that a
Good
lot.
night, darling. Figure skating coach is going to bed. She
Good
says
night,
night
figure
to all.
skating
Good
coach.
night.
Good
God
night,
bless.
figure
Sleep
skating
tight.
coach. Yes, sleep tight,
Thank you for
please.
coming in.
Think of happy thoughts and unicorns and kittens, not the scary shit we're talking about right now.
Yeah, she actually
Another cool
started.
little thing.
Go ahead.
Another quick, I promise, and then I'll shut up.
Mhm.
Everybody is born with, as far as I'm concerned, everybody's born with the ability. And children lose the ability because of the parents. Either the
Yeah.
parents tell them, oh, that's nonsense, you were just dreaming, or whatever it is. But if they not encourage it, but allow it, the space to happen, for it
Mhm.
to carry on, it'll carry on. And if the person is supposed to be a spiritual person, it'll carry on throughout. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it just fades away. Okay. Okay,
Or,
fine.
but sometimes though, Sal, sometimes what you have are people, okay, that might have the gift, I guess if you call it a
Uh-huh.
gift, but it scares them. Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not
Yes.
saying that I have full on capabilities. Okay. I just know that I've been visited a lot. And there's been a few times when it was just something random that came to me in a spot that I knew wasn't haunted. Okay. But I feel like it's like Pandora's box. Okay. So once you open it,
Yes.
it's hard to close it, right? Like once you open that, I feel like, so I don't know if it's just in like that realm that they might just see a big sign that says, oh yeah, so she can feel us or
Yep.
know that we're there, so let's just all go. So I don't want that, right? So I've always kept that part, I don't know, kind of at bay, I guess you would say, because it freaks me out. But I know my mother definitely
But you
has it
can
for sure.
control it, soldier.
No, you
You
can't.
can
No, you
control
can't.
it.
No, you can't control it. I guess what I'm saying is that I don't foster it. I don't nurture it
Yeah,
because it kind of frightens
yeah.
me because you can't control it. And
Right.
You
and you
can,
really
darling.
can't.
You can tell them. You can tell them. Listen, this is getting too much for me. Stay away from me. I don't want this. Or if you're going to speak to me, speak one at a time. You can do that. There's a friend of mine that was invaded, okay, at one time, and she grew up to become a medium. And how she controlled it was she would put a hat on, okay, when she walked into her home, okay, and when she was going to a reading or something, and she'd keep that hat on. And they knew that when she had that hat on, they left her alone. Okay. And the minute she took the hat off, then she would get communication. So you can set your boundaries.
I just don't, I gotta say, as much as I'm so interested in all of it, it scares the shit out of me. It
No.
really does. And even when they
Yeah,
come
it's a
and they're
personal
not,
boundary for you.
it is. And when
Yep.
they come, I guess I can share one more story. So twice, I had something come to me, like once when I was sleeping, okay, just in a mid sleep, and then all of a sudden there's something at the foot of my bed. Okay, I can't see it, I can't smell it, none of my senses except for whatever sense knows. And I know that there is something right there. And of course, that's where my light switch is. So that was scary. But as soon as I was brave enough to grab the light switch, then I ran over to my sage and I started praying the prayer that my father taught in our language, in our Cherokee language.
Yep.
Oh, you're
So I did that.
Cherokee. Nice.
Yeah, Western band. So anyway, so then the second time it happened, I was at my computer and I do photography on the side. I really enjoy it. And I was editing some wedding photos and I had been at it for like a couple of hours. SG knows what I'm talking about. It's brutal editing. Anyway, so I'm editing photos and I had my light off. And all of a sudden, again, I felt, this time I almost felt it like rush down the hallway and it was just right there at my back. And there was just something
that
there.
is weak.
But it didn't mean anything.
Oh.
I could tell it didn't mean anything bad.
Mhm.
It's so hard to describe. It's like it didn't mean anything malicious, but it was urgent. It was very urgent. Whatever
Yeah.
it wanted, it was so urgent. But it scared the shit out of me, guys. So again, I ran to my light switch, turned it on, grabbed my sage, and even prayed to God and said Jesus' name. I mean, I
Mhm.
do my own little thing, and it helps me feel protected. Okay, so that's
Yep.
what I did, and it
Yep.
went away eventually. But in that same place, okay, my mom, she would stay over a couple of times a week, and she would see spirit as like a light, and she would see it moving around in the living room
Yep.
like a ball in that same place. So, and they were doing a
Yeah.
lot of like, they were digging up the field next to us. They were building new
Yeah.
apartments.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of wondering if there might have been,
Yes.
something there long ago.
It does stir up spiritual activity. Potty mouth,
Mm-hmm.
the floor is all yours, darling.
Oh, I was just going to tell about how when we first realized my 13-year-old could see things, she was about 2 years old, and she used to Callie this and Callie that and Callie. And, of course, we thought it was her just imaginary friend, right? 2-year-old saying some other child's name that we had never heard.
Sure, yeah, that would make sense.
She has an imaginary friend. Well, it kept going. And then she was 3. And Callie would have to have a chair at the table. And Callie would have to have a spot in the car. And Callie would this. And she would tell me, she said, Mommy, it's so sad. It's so sad how Callie died. And I'm like, what? And
Whoa.
at this point, I'm like, okay, well, maybe this is more than just an imaginary friend. And she said, Callie, and we used to live like right behind a wrecking yard where they would put, vehicles after wrecks.
Oh.
she said Callie was in the car with her mommy and daddy, and they got in a wreck, but she died.
Oh.
And
Shame.
so Callie stuck around for a while. Well, when she was like 4.5, she came to me one day and she was just like hysterically crying, like couldn't control herself crying. And I'm like, baby, what is wrong? And she was like, nothing's wrong, mommy, nothing's wrong. I'm happy. And she was just boo-hooing. And I'm like, well, why are you crying if you're happy? She says, mommy, I am just so happy because you see, Callie used to have all this blood on her face, but she doesn't no more, mommy. All her
Ooh,
blood is gone. And she says she gets to go be with Jesus
ooh.
now. And that was it. Like,
Whoa.
we
Wow.
heard no more about Callie. Callie was gone. Callie got to go be with Jesus. But she still sees things to this day. And it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting.
Yep. Yep. And it's creepy when they're little like that. Nary, quite contrary, I have gifts of the spirit. I noticed it at 13. I think we may have talked about this before in Nikki Darling about I don't see or talk to spirits, though, at least not when I've been awake anyway. That was to you,
Interesting.
soldier.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, Neri, you must feel them too, because I don't really see them either. My mother does. My mother can see them in the form of light energy. But you guys have to understand, though, it actually takes quite a bit of energy for them to be able to like
Yes.
show something physically, right? And so it takes so much energy. That's why you hear about batteries draining and lights that'll flicker on and off. Um, so yeah, and so you said then,
Yep,
Tim,
Taylor.
that so your daughter started experiencing this stuff at like 2 years old.
Yes.
Wow,
Well,
Yeah.
we have a
that's
history of it
crazy.
in my family. Like, my
Hmm. Hmm.
grandmother used to see things and
Okay,
see
see.
spirits. And then my mom also seen things and seen spirits. And actually, like, when she committed suicide, it was,
Hmm.
she was being, she couldn't handle it. She couldn't handle the spirits. And she was being haunted by what she claimed um, was the spirit of a child she had lost, you know? And my mother couldn't handle it any longer and she ended up taking her life. But there's a family history of it. I have gifts that I would rather not elaborate on, but um I see more premonitions. Like
Hmm.
my my aunt passed away a year ago. I predicted her dying 6 months before she died. Um
Wow.
Things like that. But yeah, so she was
So
2. She was 2 when we first realized that she could see things.
so it sounds like in your family then that there's a history of psychic ability as well as discerning spirits,
Yes.
which I find a lot of people that truly have that ability, that it usually does run in the family. And oftentimes on the mother's side, I've noticed, not always, but
Yes.
oftentimes. Um, so that's really interesting. That's really, really interesting. I love talking about this stuff. So that's why I came
Oh, I
up
love
on a
it.
panel with you lovely people.
Hi,
Because
hi, Katja. I don't know if all the cool kids are hanging out here, but a few people are brave enough to be
Yeah,
here.
my
We born
Kenzie is
mush.
trying to she's trying to learn how to turn it off. Sally and I have talked about this before, that right now we're going through a phase where she sleeps with the lights on in her room.
mm-hmm.
Um, because she said that they aggravate her at night, and that
Yeah.
if she has the lights on, at least when she hears something and wakes up, it doesn't really scare her as much because the lights are on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like Sally told me, to tell her that she can ask them to leave.
Yes,
She can
absolutely.
ask them
Yeah.
to come, not to come around while she's sleeping. But yeah, she's definitely going through this phase where she's not scared of them, but she says if she wakes up and it's dark in her room and she sees something, it's spooky, you know.
Well,
She would
sure.
rather the lights be on,
Yeah,
you know. But
absolutely.
she's definitely a special child.
That's
I
awesome. And I kind of wanted to throw something out there to chat too. Please beware of anyone that charges money for this kind of
Yeah.
thing, okay?
Yes.
Because someone that truly has a gift will want to help you and not for monetary purposes.
Yep.
So I personally would not go to someone that claims to be a medium and pay them any money just because I just
No.
wouldn't do it.
Exactly.
But
You must have been
there
inside
are
my head,
legitimate people
soldier,
out there. What was that, Sally?
because that's what I said. You must have been inside my head because I was going to say that. Okay, and it's something that I've believed in and practiced for a long time. Anybody that wants to do anything, medium or whatever it is, the minute you've got to pay them money, tell them to get the hell away
Yeah,
from you,
Yeah.
because it's a
absolutely. Because you're
gift.
doing it for the wrong yeah, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. That's right. It's a gift, and you're doing it for the wrong reasons if you're charging money.
Yep.
Because it's given to you to help people. I believe, in my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know all
Yep.
the answers of the universe, but you know.
I think it's given as help and guidance and
Hmm.
that kind of thing. And just as in real life, okay, um, there are bad things that happen, the same in the spiritual world. Okay, there's the bad side to spiritual world because man will corrupt everything.
Yes.
Okay, so one
Yeah.
has to be careful. Look, it's not something that you just jump into and decide, oh, lovely stuff. No,
No.
because you can end up in a world of trouble.
Oh,
A
absolutely. If
world of
you
trouble.
are messing around with things and you don't know what you are doing, you are
Yep.
100% correct. You could bring on some really bad things. And I just want to throw this out there. I remember, was it last year, the year before? There's been a couple of weirdos on here that think they're casting spells on people on lives, which is hilarious to me. But we've got a 2-bit witch that does that and hangs out with a certain creator that none of us like. I'll call her the creator I'm talking about is Molly, and one of her one of her mods is a witch, I guess, and casts spells.
Hmm.
And I was thinking, she's casting these spells on people or whatever, and she's kind of inviting bad things onto herself. My personal opinion, when people are doing those kinds of things. So
Yeah.
yeah, just be
You
careful
see,
what you're messing around with out there, guys.
look, I've had a lot of friends that are into, how can you say, Wiccan, okay?
Mhm.
The problem is, okay, fine, you have what you call a white witch, okay? And those are witches that only deal in light and, good. They don't deal in spells
Right.
per se, okay? They
Mhm.
just deal in enhancing nature, enhancing the human ability to defend yourself, and that kind of business. Okay. Then you have the witches that do the spells and all that. Okay. Now, once you start delving into that, you're drawing on the dark side.
Yes.
And I can tell you something, that when you play the dark side tune, you're going to have to pay the fiddler.
And you can't control
And
it,
there's
by the way.
always
You can't
payback.
control it. Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
always payback. Okay. For every spell that witch casts, she's going to be asked for payback.
Yep.
Okay. Because you're drawing on an entity that you shouldn't be drawing on.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Or if
And
you're wishing harm on anyone, that's,
yes,
you're just wishing back on
well, I mean,
yourself, really.
they cast spells of harm on people. They cast
Hmm.
spells of, oh, make this guy love me or make this girl love me or whatever it is. It's all
Yes,
drawing on
mostly
something.
brainwashed.
Yeah, it's all drawing on something that's not cool. Okay. And there's going to be payback.
Yeah,
And I tell you something, that payback ain't great.
no, absolutely not. And I don't know. It's just, I definitely believe that there's a lot of things out there that we don't completely understand, but many people have encountered. So for me, it's hard to deny that there there isn't this stuff out there, right? That there isn't ghosts and different kinds of hauntings, and there is different kinds of hauntings, by the way. There's
Plenty.
yeah, there's earthbound spirits. Some of them that don't know that they've died.
Mhm.
Maybe they might have died very suddenly, and they just don't know.
Yep.
There's almost like memory imprints where a
Hmm.
situation occurred and maybe that scenario plays over and over, and that's not an intelligent
Like a loop.
Right.
haunting.
Yeah,
Yeah, like a
they've
film
got
or
a special
something.
name for it, but I can't remember
Hmm.
it.
Yep, almost like it plays on
um,
a loop.
yeah, and that doesn't interact with you whatsoever. Okay, I mean,
Right.
you can be there. You can even try and talk to it, and it just doesn't acknowledge you at all. It just whatever whatever energy was trapped in that space and time just keeps on replaying.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not what do they call it, man? I can't think of it. I've forgotten what they call it for some reason.
But yeah, there's a lot of those. And then can I say this too? Okay, there's a creator on here, and she talks about her place being haunted, and she talks quite a bit about it. She streams in the morning. I guess I should just say who it is. It's Carla. Okay. I've listened to her a few times talk about whatever's in her house. I don't know if any of you guys have, but I've
No,
wanted so badly to. I don't really go in her chat. I have wanted to go in there and say, listen, girlfriend, you need to be careful, honey, because I think
Yeah.
what you have in your house is 100% evil. Um, just from everything that she talks about of what happens. Like, I think when she first
mm,
started sharing her experience, it was more of just like maybe, maybe she'd hear sounds or, I think she saw like an imprint on her bed. But then there's like other things that have happened that I'm thinking, oh man, you better keep an eye on that.
yeah.
Because it sounds like it might be something that might be, I don't
Hey,
know,
Stephanie
maybe
Brown.
malicious.
No,
But
it's
I don't.
another. It's another name, Stephanie. Sorry. So, oh God, I'm interrupting everybody.
No, you're fine.
Sorry.
You know what? I am, kind of a panel virgin, really. So I'm still learning the ropes, actually. So you're
You're
good.
You're
doing
doing
You're good.
great.
good,
Darling, you're
Soldier.
doing brilliantly.
I'll probably be too afraid to listen to this later because I'll be like, oh, my voice, it sounds
No,
terrible.
you did all right.
My
I hate
darling,
hearing.
you're doing
No,
I
brilliant.
I hate hearing my voice. I got a wimpy voice.
Oh my
your voice
gosh.
isn't that bad though. I don't know.
No,
I like your
it
voice.
is. It is. Like
I like all of you. I love all of your voices. Every single one of you have like a different inflections and tones to your voice. I like listening to all three of you on panel, actually.
Oh, Katja.
I think it's
Katja
brilliant,
says,
Stephanie.
I used to hear my name called all the time as a child.
Oh,
I
interesting.
still hear that, Katja. Ask
Yeah.
Sally. Like, I can hear people in my life. Like, I could be at home alone and hear my dad call my name or hear someone else in my life call my name. It's really weird.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
That happens to me. Oh, and it irritates me. And I say,
Mm.
look,
I
what do you want?
I remember
State what you want
superstition.
to people.
I remember superstition. They said never to turn around when you hear your name called because it might be the devil. I remember something like that.
Really? Hmm. So keep that in
Wow.
mind, everybody. Keep that in mind. You just tell your kids that's why your husband, that's why you didn't turn around because you thought maybe.
Might be.
Anyway,
It might be Satan.
maybe.
You know what though? I feel like Native Americans are like more closer to spiritual stuff
Yeah.
than
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because like I'm
I
half
love
native.
the Native.
I'm half
I
native,
Yeah,
but
you're
love the
native
I'm
as
Native
well. That's
American
right.
yeah. I'm
beliefs.
half Zapotec. It's like an area in Oaxaca. So like where my grandma lives, like there's like little pyramids and stuff like that, and like hieroglyphics, and they're like very, but they have like weird superstitions. Like, did you ever hear about the egg? And I remember as a little kid, my grandma would grab an egg and like rub it around you. And I swear to God, when they would do that, like somebody that was sick and rub that egg and they crack that egg open, it will be bad. Like, I don't know how that works.
Well, some of the tribes in Mexico, man, they have some really cool, just the culture, like their
Yep.
yeah, some of their beliefs on that stuff is just really, really interesting. It's really interesting,
Yeah.
actually.
Okay. You have a real quick story. Okay. Okay. When I was like 12 years old, I was in a pretty bad accident, right? So I came away from it kind of scared, and I got home, right? And I walked through the door and I noticed my grandma wasn't saying anything. She was just standing there with her mouth closed. And my mom and my dad were like, "You okay?" Yeah, it's an accident. It was pretty bad, but I came away from it, right? So then I get close to my grandma. My grandma grabs me and spits in my face with water. And I'm like, "What the hell?" And then she's like, and then she tells me it's so you don't get damaged from the scare. That's supposed to like help me, like when you get really
Yes.
scared and you can get sick. That's what it was for. My grandma was old
I,
school, an old school super. She told me, if you ever want to see anything crazy like spirits, you go to your dog and you grab. You know how dogs have that gook on their eye.
Mhm.
The
yes.
to grab it and put it on your eyelids, and you'll be able to see what a dog sees. Stuff like that. My grandma would tell me.
Stephanie is saying here, does anybody know the Hopi? I think I'm saying it right.
Hopi tribe
Tribe
stories.
stories.
Oh,
Didn't
so
they
they're real close
disappear?
to. So they're real close to the Navajo, but not quite. No, Stephanie, I don't know as much about the Hopi. A little bit. I did go to a Hopi harvest dance, but I know it's. I wonder if it's kind of similar to Navajo or not.
Mm,
I don't
the
know.
the crow.
You know what?
The Crow
How
believe in a
about
lot of
next
different
week,
things too.
Stephanie? How about next week you come up on panel and share with us some of the stories, because I love the Native American belief system, and
Me
I
too.
absolutely adore it. Because
Yes,
to me, it's so close to nature. Everything's
Mm.
to do with
yes.
nature and protecting the earth and
Earth
that
Mother.
kind of
Yeah.
business. And yeah, and I'm very, very into that. Okay.
Well, and Native Americans, what's interesting, okay, so I went like down a rabbit hole in the last couple of years, really diving into not only my culture of my tribe, which is Western Banchology, but other tribes. And you know what's interesting, and Andy probably knows this too, there's a lot of um, things that are very similar within each tribe, okay? Like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
tribes believe in Bigfoot, okay? I'm just going to say it. That's right. They believe in Bigfoot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They believe in other creatures as well, like the little people. That is not
Yes.
only told through stories but documented when you go and look at these pictographs and you look at
Mm-hmm.
any petroglyphs. Okay, if you see one that is like a spiral, do you know what I mean? It looks like a spiral and then it gets bigger and bigger. If you see that in a Native American pictograph, that actually means that that was a portal. And so, what they believed, what a lot of tribes
Yes.
believe,
Yes.
is that there are portals, and that is why you don't find the bones of these creatures. You don't see as much evidence
Yep.
because they don't exist in this world solely. They can go in from
Yep.
this existence into the next, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's really
I
Now,
believe
interesting.
in Bigfoot. I
you
believe in
know
Bigfoot.
who
Hell
talks
yeah,
about
Bigfoot.
there was a bunch of people that I watched that are all have Native American heritage, okay?
Hmm.
That they were Bigfoot hunters. Well, not hunters, but I mean they would go looking for Bigfoot, okay?
Seeking them, yeah.
And yeah, and there, that's what interested me, okay, was the mythology around the whole thing, okay? And they were talking about portals and all that kind of stuff, okay? And I realized then to me, Blackfoot is spiritual. I mean, Bigfoot is spiritual. It's a spiritual being. You know what I mean? It's not a, I wouldn't, how can I say? I wouldn't expect to find a Bigfoot just walking around and breeding and having a graveyard and all that kind of business. It's more of a spiritual being that comes and goes. I don't know if I understand that, but that's how it is to me. And it was because of the way that they explained the portholes and all this kind of business around it. It was really brilliant.
Yeah. I love anything to do with like native culture. Even when I went to college,
Yeah.
like my electives were all like native classes, you know, like just, you know. And my archaeology teacher one time told me it was like the first class that we had with the we were talking about Bigfoot for some reason, and she just said, "Look, if there's a Bigfoot out there, which there could be, it's probably a giganticus or something, because there was an animal out there that looked like a Bigfoot, so that's probably what it is," she said.
Jen B. Stephanie Brown, my mother-in-law is 100% Navajo, and she tells me stories of the time. Oh, wow, that must be magical.
Soldier, do you live on a res or do you live with...
No, well, I have before. I've lived on the res before. Actually, in Coma, I lived on the res. But no, I don't live in the res where I'm at right now. It's pretty rural where I'm at, and the reservation, there's only like a few in my state, although the native population is pretty high. They would just march them through the desert to the one place. So,
yeah.
So no, definitely not on the res. But
Yeah.
you know, I can go to the powwow stuff.
Oh, I love powwows. Black Eagle once got mad at me. She thought I was being racist towards it because I asked her that.
Oh no, it's just a question.
Katia was asking a lot of beliefs in Africa. Yeah, Africa is very, very rich with that sort of stuff. Okay, voodoo, all that kind of business. And you know, Andy, you were talking about your grandmother spraying water on you from her mouth. Now the African women do that as well.
Oh, do they? Wow.
Yeah. If somebody is really another reason they do it is if somebody is really sort of out of control and being really shitty, okay?
Yeah.
You'll have about 5 or 6 women gathered together and they will spit it, will spray the person, okay, with the water from their mouths.
Yeah.
And that's to
imagine if you went around doing that to everyone that pissed you off.
I'd have a ball.
It'd be very satisfying for like 2 seconds.
that image though, when she did that to me, like it left an imprint in me because I was I was more shocked of that than getting into the car accident, you know.
Speaking of voodoo and Navajo, I just wanted to say real quick that if you don't know much about the Navajo tribe, they are very interesting, and they too have some of them that there's not a huge amount of them, but there are dark witches within the Navajo tribe that practice some very, very dark stuff. And I dated this guy that he had been divorced from his wife for about a year. And I was going through a divorce myself, and we dated, and his wife was full Navajo. And I had heard, and I thought maybe that it was just like, you know, talk, but someone had told me that someone in her family had been a skinwalker.
Yes.
And if you don't know what that is,
I know
the white man stories and the Wachee stories of what it is. You need to find out from a Navajo what it is, and it's pretty scary. So I find out, you know, so this gal, one Christmas, we go to pick up his kids, and I just stayed in the car. She gave us 2 Christmas goodie bags, quote, okay? Well, as soon as he got them, he put them in the back of the car, and then we drove to the gas station and just threw them away because he was like, whatever's in those bags will mean us harm. Like, we do not open those, don't even look at them. Like, he didn't even want to touch them. But I'll tell you
Yep.
what, for 3 months after that, Sally, I had the worst, horrible nightmares. And a lot of
Mm.
them
Yeah.
involve snakes. And I'm not afraid of snakes, but I know that the Navajo um,
Yeah.
use the snake, well, at least those that practice dark things, they kind of use the snake as a threat to someone,
Yes.
you know, so if
Yes.
on your doorstep, So yeah, I was having
Yeah.
terrible, terrible nightmares about this stuff. I don't know what that gal was trying to send after me, but damn, that was,
Probably
yeah.
jealousy.
Yeah.
Don't mess with the Navajo woman, is
But
what I'm trying
also
to say.
in the Navajo tradition, okay, they don't really like to talk about the skinwalker because then
No,
they reckon if they talk about the skinwalker is going
it
to kill
invites
them.
them. Right, it'll invite them.
Yeah.
It invites them in. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it just,
And
woof. I'm
I
not
mean
saying that
the
she was a
skinwalker,
skinwalker, but that, woof.
yeah. But it seems that the skinwalker, okay, um, it's almost like a vampire, but it feeds off killing people type of thing. And the more people
Yes.
it kills, I call it kill, okay? The more
Well, to
people
become
it
one, you
kills, the
have to
stronger it
sacrifice a
gets.
family member. So, I mean, just right
Yes.
off the bat, even to become one, you have to
Then,
sacrifice someone you love. So,
did you ever hear about the Navajo shapeshifter?
yes.
Okay, and that is a person that can shift into an animal. Okay, and like it can transform itself into a jackal. Okay, and not a jackal. We call them jackals here, like a fox or those small animals. Okay, a
Yeah,
coyote or something like that.
I've
Okay,
heard of that, but I've also
and
heard that when they do that, they don't quite look right. Like there's something off about them
yes,
when you, you
yes,
know,
yeah,
I've never seen one,
something
but
wrong with their teeth and the facial
yes.
expression,
Yep.
and
Yep.
that is used then to attack a person. Okay, when they're in that animal state. I love all those things because in
They're
Africa
so,
there's so much
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
that's kind of similar, you know.
Hmm.
That's very connected to the spirits, but then there's a dark side in the African thing.
Hmm.
Whoa, and they can go bad dark.
I we did see something. Okay, so I'm sorry, guys. Just want to share this one more thing.
I'm
Um,
loving it.
so we were coming up from New Mexico, and we traveled up through Colorado, and we were about to dip through to Utah, but we just could not drive anymore, guys. I mean, it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and we were exhausted. And we're about 60 miles past the last town that we had passed, and we're driving, and all of a sudden we look over and see this man in a full suit with a briefcase, really nice shoes, just fully get up in the middle of the desert, people, walking with this weird
Mhm.
expression on his face and like marching like
Whoa.
he's on a mission. And he's out in the middle of nowhere. Okay. And then turns out I did research when we got home because this really unnerved me. Okay. I don't know if it was just a person hiking, whatever, but this man was in like
Uh-huh.
full suit attire marching with, I don't know, it just was so out of place. And his face expression was
Uh,
what was the most creepy. But we weren't that far from Skinwalker Ranch. Well, we were about probably about
whoa.
within a probably within a 75-mile radius, which those that know about Skinwalker Ranch say that it actually affects for a couple hundred miles
Yes.
around it. Now, I don't know if that had anything to
Yes.
do with it, but I'll tell you, we did pull over in our car to sleep, and I made my husband drive for a very fucking long time before we pulled over to fall asleep. I was just certain that man in the suit was going to come get me. I don't know what the hell he was doing, but damn it, that was weird for sure.
So
Yep.
weird.
Hey, I must just say hello. Harlan, Harlan. I saw you. I'm sorry I'm not paying attention to chat, and I think PMM has gone to sleep.
No, I'm
Um,
here. What are you
and
talking about?
Andy,
I'm here.
Stephanie Brown wants to know how you know about the egg blessing, or do you know about the egg blessings, or did you already read that part?
Because they would do that in my house. Like when somebody would be sick, my grandma would get an egg and rub the egg around whoever was sick, and then
Wow.
they would cut the egg, and the eggs sometimes would come out like colored and rotten and stuff, and then they would take
Wow.
Yeah.
there were a lot of that were
That's
like
so
white
cool.
witches that my family had a white witch supposedly. Now I think
Mhm.
it was just something different. Like as
So
a
what do you
Christian,
call
you
that in
see.
Spanish then? Like what's the word for that? Like for I guess like a white witch or whatever. Someone like I don't know.
No, it's bruja, just a bruja,
Oh, bruja. Okay.
bruja blanca, yeah.
Ah.
And it
Yeah,
was
and in
weird, and it was weird when
Portuguese,
you would go,
bruxa.
yeah, yeah. It was weird because like I would be like in the other room as a kid, and I would hear her, and the lady was like, "Okay, you guys ready to, and then all of a sudden her voice would get like real deep, I just started like, oh, you know what I mean, and it sounded
Mm.
weird, but yeah, that's a lot of people have those beliefs still because the area that where my grandma's from, it was very not, like, oh, I can't walk. Oh man, somebody did something. We got to take you to the White Witch right away, And it was very
Oh, that,
common, like some people would find like bags of like
Almost like a medicine woman of sorts.
mhm,
I mean,
mhm.
wow. That's
yes,
cool.
Sally's becoming a medicine woman.
yes, I'm becoming a herbalist.
This community
Now,
needs a
let's
medicine
talk about
woman,
the
so get on
banshee
it, Sally.
quickly. No,
The
I'm not becoming a
banshee.
herbalist. I'm just, yeah. Let's talk about the banshee. The banshee is an Irish um, mythological figure, okay? And the banshee is a woman. She goes around in a long flowing dress. But the problem is, if you hear the banshee scream, okay, somebody in your family is going to die. The banshee is almost like a soul collector.
Mm.
Okay,
Yeah.
she's not. It's not somebody. It's not somebody that you really want to know. It's not a spirit that you really want to know. Okay, but when she screams, it's ear piercing. Okay,
So is the banshee
absolutely.
okay? So is she a spirit or is she a physical form? Is it like a human that can like? I don't
Yeah,
understand
it's
really what a banshee
well,
is.
it's to me a banshee is more spiritual. Okay, but I mean you get people that'll draw pictures of her and paintings of her and stuff like that, and it's always a woman in flowing robes with long hair and a pretty ghoulish sort of a face. Okay, but slender. But to me, it's a spirit. Okay, it's a spirit. It's an Irish. It's part of the Irish mythology, like
So is it
leprechauns
malevolent
and
or
all
is
that
it
kind of stuff.
malicious? Like,
It's well, look, it's not somebody that you want to befriend, okay, and have on call as a spiritual guide or anything like that. No, she deals with mostly death and the collecting of souls.
hmm.
So if you hear the banshee, okay, you virtually tremble in your boots because you know that somebody in your family or in that house, okay, is going to die. She calls them.
Oh, okay.
It's almost like she's calling. She's almost like a soul caller type of thing. Okay. Now we have that in the African tradition. That owls,
Messenger of
if
death.
an owl flies over your house or is in a tree or whatever near your house, and you hear an owl hoot, it means somebody in your home is going to die. Okay. Now
Oh wow.
I've
Interesting.
experienced
I believe that too.
the belief in that. Because I used to have an owl in Zimbabwe. It was huge. And for about a month, every night it would land on my front lawn, okay, right near my front door. I mean, I could sit on my couch in my lounge and watch the owl, okay, and I loved it. It hooted and it did its thing, but it would stay there for about 15, 30 minutes, okay? And the guy that was working for me in my house, okay, he saw it the one night and he was going dipshit mad. And I said to him, "What is your problem?" And then he told me the belief system. So I said, "No, I don't believe in that." you leave that owl alone, because he was trying to kill it. Okay, he wanted to kill it, and I said to him, no, you don't do that. But then I said, look, I don't believe in it. Nothing's going to happen to anybody, not even you. Okay, the only time that it becomes powerful is when you believe in it.
Yeah.
I don't believe in that. Okay.
Right.
Because I've listened to thousands of owls hooting.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, and
and nothing has ever happened.
Well, and then it's so interesting that is in Africa as well. Okay, so I'll tell you, my brother is married to a full Northern Cheyenne woman, and in her tribe, they believe that owls are messengers of death as well. But and the difference is that it's only if the owl looks you in the eye.
Yes.
Does it mean that someone that you
We
know
believe
close to you
here.
has passed? So
yeah,
there's that, but then it's interesting though, because my tribe, the Chalaji Nation, owls are regarded as highly as eagles, and they have a very strong medicine. It's just a different medicine, so you have to keep their feathers apart. You don't keep owl feathers with an eagle feather ever. Completely different medicine, but they're highly regarded in the Cherokee Nation. So it's just interesting, to hear the different animals and what they represent to, different cultures. It's kind of cool.
Yep. Neri was saying, it is also said that people with Rh negative blood factor tend to be more inclined to have extrasensory abilities.
Really?
That so far seems to be true. I do have something extra.
Now that is interesting. That is interesting. I might have to research that and see more into that. That's really fascinating.
Do you know something? I remember watching this. It wasn't a movie. It was almost like a documentary on the Navajo skinwalker. Okay, and there was a Navajo guy accompanying the person that was doing the narrating. I can't remember what it was. And he was talking about, I can't remember if it was an owl feather or some bird's feather that his grandmother gave him to protect him from the skinwalker. Okay.
Probably a
and
prayer
he
feather.
had kept that. Pardon?
So it was probably a prayer feather, I'm guessing. One that you would use in prayer, maybe. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he had kept it, okay, and he reckons that is what protected him from the skinwalker. But that his grandmother, it was before she died, okay, and she'd said to him, you never ever, okay, get rid of this feather, and you keep it close to you all the time. And he had this feather on him 24/7 wherever he went, okay. And when he was going with this guy to do with the skinwalker, okay, that feather was on him for sure. But I thought it was rather interesting, that's it had to be a feather, but I can't remember what bird it had to be. But it was a prayer feather.
Yeah, prayer feathers are usually prayer feathers usually gifted to you. Like mine was given to me from my father. So yeah, they're usually gifted to you as well as your little prayer shell. But it's you know what, I just have to say before I get off panel that this has been so interesting and so cool to talk about this stuff with you guys. And sorry if I hogged the mic a little bit.
No, you're good.
Oh my darling, I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
If we do have a native panel, I'll so be here because anything native interests me so much. I had a girlfriend when I was in high school, Sarah Big Tobacco, and I went to go stay with her. She was a Sioux, so I kind of know a little bit about natives and stuff like that.
Yes, and Sioux is such a cool tribe too. The Lakotas, yes, and all of them. Cool.
Do you know that I had a friend in Zimbabwe, okay? Her mother was half Cherokee. And I didn't have a name for my firstborn, okay? He was born out of wedlock and all that kind of business. Never had anything to do with his father afterwards and everything. And I couldn't think of a name for him. And she said, I must name him Shiloh. It means like almost like a gypsy, a road with no end. Okay. But I didn't get the correct spelling from her. But she said that that was like a Cherokee in whatever kind of name. Okay. But I didn't, I mean, I pronounce it Shiloh. I don't know if that's the correct spelling or, I mean, pronunciation or anything. But I named him that. And you know, he's grown up to be that kind of person.
Wow. I love that name too.
It's yeah. But I thought that, I just remembered that.
Well, I have a quick joke for you guys, okay? For all you natives out there in chat, Andy. All right, so what do you get when you have a room full of people?
What do you get?
You get one full Cherokee. You have one full Cherokee. That's what you get when you have a full. Listen, I love my tribe and my heritage, but everyone and their damn dog says that they've got. Okay, let me tell you something, people. Okay, listen, you're being told that some family, a Cherokee Prince Emma, lean in. Princesses or Indian princesses. We didn't hierarchy in troops, okay? Chiefs don't. There's no such thing as Indian princesses. I hate to do that, but
no, they aren't.
But it just seems like you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm sure one heard. You know what I'm talking about, Andy.
whenever you hear Mexicans say, "I'm an Aztec warrior," he's not an Aztec warrior. Those guys got wiped out.
But what if I'm Cherokee and Choctaw?
No, but in India there are Indian princesses, okay, because they were called Maharajas and that kind of business, okay. So there is a kind of
India.
It's not official anymore.
Yeah,
in India, yeah, but not in the Native American.
But Native princesses, people. So stop with that freaking narrative.
No,
Concha, you're not.
But that is the one thing though about the Cherokee tribe is that every claim to, but like my family, on my dad's side, father, they're all registered. The only reason why I'm not registered is because I lived in there when I was a child. So like, a lot of records were up, and so now I don't get registered. I have to pay for my dick, but like it's not like I'm going to get money or anything. I don't want it for money or anything like that. I guess maybe to be recognized as the tribe, but my entire registered. But it's frustrating though. It says they're freaking Cherokee, and I know there's no way they can all be Cherokee.
You know what? I wish I was. I wish I was Native American, just so I could go fish without paying a damn $50 fishing license for sure.
That's it. Okay, so where do you? Okay, that's also. Where the hell did you hear that? Because I still have to get my fishing license. Though I'm not registered, but he was registered, and he still paid for his. You get to go fish anywhere you want.
Because in California, if you're Native, you don't need a license. Yeah.
No. Well, most of the people I know that are Native still have to get a license, but maybe it's just in California. I don't know. Yeah.
Because like when I was going
you still have to pay.
Because when I was going to college, like they didn't even have to pay for their college because it was all paid for.
Yeah. So if you get good grades and stuff, you can get in. But you can't you don't just get like a free ride in college. Like you definitely have to prove yourself with your grades before you can get your education paid for. But yeah, there's some things. But no, you for the most part you still have to pay for a lot of your shit.
I'm getting me an Ancestry.com DNA kit so I can get my 5% Cherokee free fishing license.
Do it up, girl. Hey, you better hope it's a different tribe though, girlfriend, because Cherokee tribe doesn't pay out, man. They're stingy bastards.
Shit.
No, they don't.
I don't want to do that ancestry thing because like, what if like 10 kids show up and they're like, "Daddy," I'll be like,
"Oh my
gosh." No, I want to do that. Now that friend of mine's mother, we went back in her lineage, okay, and on her mother's side, it was Cherokee 100%. What had happened was her father was British. I don't know. I can't remember how he'd met her mother, okay? And they'd married and they'd ended up in bloody Zimbabwe of all places, okay? And you know, she kind of had a Native American look, but her daughter was absolutely Native American looking, okay? It was weird, but she gave me my son's name. I didn't know. And I know that it's also I found it in the Old Testament as well. But there in the Old Testament, it's got a different meaning. But she said it was like a road with no end. And he has been a road with no end growing up. You know what I mean? It's weird.
I get mistaken for Native all the time, but I used to get it more when I was younger. One time I left college. Over here we have this big street called Mount Vernon, and I was coming down Mount Vernon, and I had this pretty cool fast car, and these girls are chasing me. So when they pulled up to me on Niles, they were like, "Hey," yeah. So I'm like, "What's up?" And they're like, "Hey," and they're like, "Yeah." They're like, "What tribe are you from?" And I'm like, "What?" They're like, "What tribe are you from?" I go, "I'm Chicano." You know? Oh, he started laughing. "We're from Tehachapi. We wanted to invite you to a powwow." And I'm like, "Oh, let's go." Yeah, I'm down.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That Lorena.
Well, you wear your hair long. Oh, sorry. You wear your hair long sometimes, so you kind of do look Native, actually. Like I can say.
Have you seen a picture of me?
Well, no, I think I watched you making Makeup Mobster's meatloaf. Actually.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Lanky, thank you, my sweetheart, for being here and for being so busy in the chat. Thank you, my darling.
Oh, we love you, Lanky. You really are the best in the West.
Sweet
For real.
dreams,
Lanky,
darling. God bless.
if I offended you, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it that way.
Lanky
No,
was my
she
first
said it
friend
was okay.
here. I love her. Love.
Andy Cruz is cheating on all of you. Of course he is. I keep on telling you guys.
No, I'm not.
It's not Andy Cruz pod trash. It's Andy Cruz airport hall.
Well, I think I'm going to hop down, guys, and probably just chill in the chat. Sally, thank you for having me up so much. Really
thank you so much. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I really have.
I enjoyed your stories. They were great.
Yes, and I have more to share for next time too.
Yeah,
goody.
Next time I'm gonna show up with pictures and stuff.
Ooh,
next week, Stephanie Brown is going to come up and tell us about the Hopi people. Share some stories with us.
Yeah,
exactly. I would hear that too. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll show you.
So is this time?
And stuff.
Is the time that we started the best time for everybody, or are they happy with that? Or
yeah, it was good for me.
Definitely. Good. Well, I know for me it's good. That's when my husband goes to work. My kids are in bed for the most part. So, yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Because I thoroughly enjoyed this. I think, you see, for me, the more you learn about somebody, okay, or a culture, the less afraid you are of it and the less ignorance, okay? My dad always said to me, the difference in somebody is your classroom. And that's how I've always looked at it. The more I learn about somebody that's not the same culture as me or the same race as me or whatever, the more knowledgeable I am about that person and the less likelihood of ever fearing that person or being nasty to that person, okay? Because I can understand where they come from. Okay, so I love this. I really do. I love it.
I just noticed TMM's picture of, is that Wolfman that you have there?
That's the Rougarou.
Okay.
And you've got to do some studying on that Rougarou, my dear.
Look, I seriously don't want to get too deep in the Rougarou because I live close to him, and
yeah, kind of like I ain't trying to get it, might conjure it up, something like that.
Right.
I don't blame you, girlfriend. I don't blame you.
Like
I'm a little too close to the swamp to be getting all involved in the Rougarou stuff.
Indeed.
Ooh. If I go
Yeah,
visit your
Okay, well,
party,
you
would
guys have an
oh,
awesome night, and
You
I'll see you around the
too.
tube.
and you
Take
too,
care,
thank you,
darling.
soldier.
Soldier.
Take
Blessings.
care.
Keep safe. Have a brilliant night.
Party,
And
if I
with
go
that,
visit you. Oh, sorry.
no, carry on, carry on.
No, I just wanted to say, party, if I go visit you, can you take me to the swamp to look for swamp thing?
Yeah, we could go find the Ruguru.
Yeah, I bet you. She don't even want to talk about the Rougarou. You think she's going to go looking
I
for
know,
it,
right?
wanting to look for it?
No, it's just
Come on
kind of
now.
like that thing, like, you know, when your parents tell you stories when you're growing up as a child to scare the
Yeah.
shit out of you? Well, that's what
Well,
we
you
were
should
told
tell us some of
stories.
those stories.
No, because I don't want to visit. I don't want the Ruguru getting me.
No, but if you tell us the stories, okay, they know the stories about what your parents used to tell you. That's not inviting the Rougarou. That's keeping the Rougarou at bay, because then we all fear the Rougarou. You see,
Um,
you can be our parent, and you telling us the story.
my dad and his getting home late. This shit's gonna stop. Just scared the crap out of me once again.
Oh, not again.
Yeah,
Last night
I'm
he
gonna
aged me 50 years.
have to go, but I love you guys.
Where you
Love you,
going?
sweetheart. Thank you. No, she's not
Good
crying.
night. Good
Good
night.
night, my darling. Love you.
Night. Night.
See you on the flip side. And I think we will end. We've been
Okay.
on a long time.
I know.
Andy, I thank you
Yes.
so much for coming up.
No, thank
And
you for inviting
Soldier.
me.
And I thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. This has been really great. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And have a blessed rest of your night, afternoon, day, whatever it is. And a great weekend, rest of your weekend.
Okay. Thank you
Okay.
for having me
Give
up,
me,
Sally.
it's a pleasure, my darling. Take care.
Okay. Okay.
I
Night.
hope nobody spits water on your face again.
No, no. Only my grandma did that once. Okay. Goodbye.
Night, darling. And night to everybody. God bless. Keep safe. Thank you very much for being with us. And Stephanie, next week, same time, same place, please. Right. Night, everybody. Ciao, ciao. Take care. Thank you.